Hey dude, listen to this. There's this guy popping up on X lately who's making some really crazy claims about XRP. He's saying the price could go all the way up to $10,000, or even as high as $50,000 for each single coin. And let me tell you, the whole XRP community is reacting pretty negatively to it. A ton of people are leaving comments that are not very nice, pushing back hard against what he's saying. I saw those clips and I wanted to go through them with you, break everything down, and give you my honest thoughts on it. It's the exact same person in both videos, so I'm not sure if he's just trying to get more clicks and views or what. But let's look at what he's actually talking about. So the first clip starts with him saying, if you actually believe that XRP is going to reach $10,000, then you're someone who really understands the financial system, while most other people just don't get it. He thinks that the ones arguing against the $10,000 price are using old ideas from the stock market that don't apply here. They keep saying things like, oh, it can't happen because of the market cap. But according to him, that's the wrong way to think about it. He explains that XRP isn't just any regular crypto coin anymore, whereas it's now treated as a digital commodity. That's why a lot of people get mad or confused when this topic comes up. Every single time someone mentions XRP going to 10,000, the same argument pops up about how the market cap would have to be enormous. He breaks it down really simply. Market cap is nothing more than the price of one coin multiplied by the total number of coins that exist. That's all it is. It does not mean there has to be a huge pile of actual money sitting in a bank somewhere. It does not mean that all that money has already been invested into the coin. And it definitely does not mean there's suddenly that much liquidity ready to be used. It's just a simple calculation based on the last price someone paid, spread across every single coin in existence. When people hear $10,000 per XRP and immediately say it's impossible, they're picturing in their heads that someone would have to buy up $1 quadrillion worth of the coin all at once. But he says that's completely wrong and far from the truth. He ends that part by asking everyone what they think. Do you believe XRP can actually get to $10,000? Or do you think the market cap idea makes it totally impossible? He wants people to comment their opinions. Okay, then a few days later, one clip was from March 30th and the next from April 4th. He comes back with an even bigger claim. This time he's saying that XRP has to mathematically reach somewhere between $10,000 and $50,000 per coin for the entire payment system to actually work the way it's supposed to. He knows everyone thinks 10,000 already sounds completely crazy, but he believes they just don't understand how liquidity really works in the real world. Let's break it down the way he does. There's this theory he mentions that once XRP gets full global adoption by big institutions, things like working with SWIFT, the DTCC, tokenizing real-world assets, RWAs, CBDCs, commodities trading, and all kinds of value transfers happening on the XRP ledger, then the price would need to settle in that $10,000 to $50,000 range to handle all that activity properly. He points out that maybe what he's not fully explaining is that this range would only make sense if XRP ends up handling every single dollar of value moving around the world in those systems. He doesn't want people to just take his word for it, since he's just some guy on the internet. Instead, he tells everyone to look at what the CTO of Ripple has said about this. It's actually pretty straightforward. The CTO explained that all other things being equal, the higher the price of XRP goes, the cheaper it becomes to use it for making payments. This idea came up way back in 2017, and even recently in 2026, the CTO replied to someone asking for more details on it. Let me explain it the way the CTO did. It can't be dirt cheap. If XRP is only worth $1, then to move $1 million, you would need to use 1 million XRP coins, which would still cost $1 million total. But if XRP is worth $1 million each, then you would only need to use one single XRP coin to move that same $1 million, and it would still cost exactly $1 million. So basically, a higher price makes the transaction more efficient because you need fewer coins to move the same amount of value. That means the fees end up being lower, and it works better for big transfers. The guy in the clip says XRP was specially built for large-scale transfers and global payments that settle really fast, in just 3 to 5 seconds. For it to reach those super high prices like 10,000 or 50,000, we would need full global adoption, a massive amount of demand for liquidity, and XRP becoming one of the core layers of the whole financial system. We're clearly not there right now, which is why the price is still sitting around $1.30. A lot of people think getting to those kinds of numbers is totally impossible, but he believes if you understand all the small details instead of just reacting with market cap, it's impossible, then you might see it differently. He keeps repeating that certain people who haven't done deep research just fall back on the market cap argument and wrongly compare a crypto asset or digital commodity to regular stocks. They mix up the concepts, and that leads to the wrong conclusions. I think that's plenty from the clips. The comments under his posts were pretty tough, a lot of direct criticism, but honestly, right now it's more useful to talk about the actual news and real developments happening with XRP instead of just dreaming about fairy tale prices. Sure, it's fun to imagine waking up one morning and seeing XRP at $10,000 or even $50,000, but we don't really know if or when that could happen. This whole thing is building a new kind of financial system, and XRP does have a practical use case that most other tokens don't have right now. So yeah, I'm still hopeful we'll see the price go much higher than where it is today. But I don't think it will happen the sudden way this guy describes, jumping straight from $5 to $10,000 with nothing in between. In my opinion, it will probably be a slower, more gradual climb. It might go up to $10, then $50, then $100, maybe pull back down when a bunch of people sell off, then climb again to $250, $500, $1,000, and so on. It will have to build up step by step like that. I don't expect it to randomly shoot straight up overnight. And to even reach some of those higher prices, we're going to need a lot of real liquidity in the market. That means huge amounts of buying pressure, people and institutions coming in and buying tens of billions or even hundreds of billions of dollars worth of XRP and taking it off the exchanges. Right now, there's still a lot of XRP available on the open market, so demand has to be strong enough to absorb a lot of that supply before the price can really move up significantly. Price always follows strong demand. As of today, the price is sitting around $1.31. We have about $1 billion total in assets under management across all the XRP ETF products that exist right now. But those ETFs are only holding about 0.77% of the total XRP supply. So you can see we're still quite far away from the levels we'd need for really big price moves. A lot of analysts out there are even predicting that the price might go lower over the next few months because of the current market conditions and everything else going on. Plus, summer months usually slow down in crypto anyway. I know we all want to dream big and stay super optimistic, but personally, I believe it's probably not going to explode anytime super soon. That's just my honest take after watching everything. Of course, things in crypto can change really fast. For example, if we finally get the Clarity Act passed, or if the US Treasury starts moving some of its $13 trillion using the XRP ledger, that could spark huge movement. Or if the DTCC goes fully digital this year and starts clearing transactions through partners like Hidden Road using XRP, any of those things could help the price start climbing. There are quite a few possible catalysts, but right now we're simply not at that stage yet. We have to be realistic that this will probably take more time than a lot of people expect. It's not going to be a straight line straight up with no dips or pauses. Let me tell you about some of the real developments that are actually happening. BlackRock's head of digital assets, a guy named Robbie Mitchnick, has already said publicly that they will probably start looking at more assets beyond just Bitcoin and Ethereum once there is real demand for them. The only tokens that would really make sense for them at that point are XRP and Solana, mainly because those two already have the most liquidity compared to others. That's what big players like BlackRock look for first. So if BlackRock were to launch a spot XRP ETF similar to their IBIT Bitcoin one, how much XRP would they need? Probably close to $1 billion worth to get it started properly. That amount would basically double what we're currently seeing across all existing XRP ETF products. Pulling that much extra XRP off the open market would be really good for the price and create more buying pressure. Right now, the circulating supply of XRP is about 61 billion coins, and the total market cap is sitting in the $80 billion range, with the price between $1.30 and $1.40. We need to hold above $1.33, or we could see it dip down toward $1.05 or $1.08. I'm watching that support level pretty closely. Most ETFs usually start small, seeding with at least $50 to $100 million worth of the asset. But if one of these XRP ETFs grows big and reaches $10 billion in assets under management, that would mean they hold something like 7 to 8 billion XRP coins. That kind of buying would have a serious positive impact on the price and take a big chunk of supply off the market. Another piece of big news is that Charles Schwab, one of the largest financial institutions in the world with over $12 trillion in assets, has officially confirmed they're preparing to launch direct spot crypto trading on their platform. They're calling the new product Schwab Crypto. At the beginning, users will only be able to buy and sell Bitcoin and Ethereum inside their regular stock accounts. The full rollout is planned for the first half of 2026, but early access signups are already open. They're starting slow with the most liquid assets first, then they'll gradually add more. XRP will likely be added later, along with Solana and probably some others like XLM, Chainlink, or things connected to the Canton network. They always begin with the biggest and most established ones. There's also fresh news about Franklin Templeton partnering with Ondo to tokenize all of their ETFs. You've probably seen how Ondo's chart has been moving lately. The amount of money tokenized on their platform recently climbed to almost $3.5 billion, which is a huge jump. And the best part is you can trade these tokenized assets 24/7 directly through regular crypto wallets. Remember, Ondo is already connected to the XRP ledger. Their OUSG token, which is backed by BlackRock's Build O fund, is already live on the XRP ledger. It gets minted and redeemed using RLUSD, and this happens around the clock. So the whole wave of tokenization isn't something coming in the future. It's already happening right now, and the XRP ledger is already being used as a settlement layer for it. That's definitely a bullish sign. We also got some interesting information from a Gemini SEC filing. It confirms that Gemini has a $250 million credit line through Ripple. I thought this was a pretty smart move. The filing shows that Ripple first gave Gemini a credit line starting at $150 million, and it was later expanded to $250 million during 2026. The interest rate is around 7%, but the whole agreement is tied directly to using RLUSD. Gemini has to hold RLUSD and actively use it, and they have to keep up certain activity levels with it, or else they face penalties and higher interest rates. As of the end of 2025, Gemini still had $154 million borrowed from Ripple, and it was backed by $189 million in receivables. This setup basically turns Ripple into a big wholesale liquidity provider, while at the same time pushing RLUSD into real financial flows and actual use by institutions. When big players are required to use RLUSD as part of these deals, all that activity flows through the XRP ledger, and that's when we should start seeing more positive effects on XRP itself. Keep in mind, though, that a lot of RLUSD activity, about 80%, is still happening on Ethereum, but it's starting to spread to other chains as well. It's not only on the XRP ledger right now. In short, the Gemini SEC 10K filing reveals that Ripple is providing a large revolving credit line to Gemini, and it's explicitly connected to Gemini using the RLUSD stablecoin. This move positions Ripple as a serious liquidity provider at scale and encourages real-world adoption of RLUSD through Ripple's technology. I expect we'll see more deals like this in the future where Ripple offers similar loans or credit to other companies, which will help RLUSD grow even more. On top of all that, the International Monetary Fund officially released a note that pushes the idea of tokenized finance. They call it a major shift in how global banking could work. The IMF is saying that tokenization, turning real-world assets into digital tokens on blockchain-style systems, could completely transform money markets and payments all over the world. Transactions would become instant with something called atomic settlement. Markets could run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with no delays. Costs from traditional banks and institutions would drop a lot, and many rules could be automated through smart contracts. One of the most powerful financial organizations in the world is now saying this kind of change could reshape the entire system. It means banks, governments, and big institutions are being encouraged to move toward blockchain-based infrastructure on a global level. Right now, the world feels like it's in a bit of chaos, and we really need ways to move money instantly and efficiently. The old traditional system just isn't fast enough anymore for today's needs. Chains like the XRP Ledger and XLM have been tested and improved for the last 10 years, and they're already positioned to take full advantage of this big digital transformation that's coming. That's exactly why I'm excited about all of this. It's why I wake up every day thinking about these developments and why I keep sharing all this news with you guys. It's also why I continue buying these assets whenever the prices are lower. I truly believe a lot of this is still undervalued right now. Whether the price goes a little bit lower before we eventually hit new all-time highs, I'm prepared for it. I'm ready for whatever the market throws at us. That's my honest take on everything that's going on.